Hey, what's going on? Welcome back to another episode of Gem Drafter. Hard open this week. I'm James Newton. Follow me on Twitter at Gem Drafter, I suppose, even though I don't tweet that much. And he is Peanut Butter today.
Yeah, I just have to change my name every week if this becomes a weekly thing.
Well, so far I think this is the fourth week in a row now.
Yeah. Oh, but I am going to be out of town next week, so it's going to be tough to get one in.
I mean, even if we can't, I'll hold it down. I got some stuff in my back pocket for content that I've
Been
been
holding
kind of
on to
working on.
something.
Yeah. I mean, you have to, otherwise you run out of stuff to do and talk about, and then once you're not consistent, people kind of tune out, start to lose listenership slowly. All right, so enough of my rambling. Let's just jump into the first thing that we're going to talk about today, which is Aaron Rodgers coming back to Green Bay. Payson, we were both wrong. We were both
We were
wrong.
both wrong. I am really impressed at the size of the contract. Like 4 years, I like the money is like whatever, kind of. I mean, it is a lot, but 4 years, 200 million, I think is that the deal?
Yeah, guaranteed 153 million.
Yeah, it's steep. He's pretty old. I can't imagine him actually playing that contract out. But
That's what I was thinking also. That was, like, one of my main points. I was at work and I was just kinda talking to myself, like, practicing for this. I actually recorded it too, and I was thinking about putting it out, but through my AirPods, the sound quality was terrible. But, yeah, I think just because he has a contract doesn't mean that there's not the same concerns next offseason about him threatening to leave and him threatening to retire. I think next year, people are gonna be in the same stressful boat as far as dynasty with him.
yeah, I think the only thing that maybe helps is that it's so much money now. Like the idea of leaving 50 million on the table, like, ooh, it's a little tough.
Yeah, definitely. I guess another question that it kind of sparks is, because they franchise tag Devontae Adams now. I mean, obviously that bounces back his dynasty value quite a bit. I'm sure owners were scared about Devontae Adams' value, thinking about him and Aaron Rodgers getting split up. And so, that kind of, without getting too off topic about the current events, I mean, I might as well bring up, like, I was trying to basically trade 102 for Devontae Adams plus in Heroes and Villains, the 14 team Superflex tight end premium. And I don't know. I feel uncomfortable giving up the 102 right now. I just want to see what happens in the NFL draft. But you can't argue Devontae Adams, production value coming up this year is probably going to be a top 5 wide receiver again.
Yeah, I'd say that's pretty likely. The only thing is, what does the age cliff look like for him? And we've got four wide receivers kind of in that boat, or more, like four that are good. You got like Mike Evans, Keenan Allen, Adams. I guess Tyreek's a year younger, isn't he?
Yeah. I believe he's
But
28.
yeah,
The
but
thing about
still,
Adams is his birthday's in December, so I know that shouldn't really make that much of a difference, but it's like, oh, he's gonna turn 30 in the season. Like, I don't know, just something about that makes me
you
feel
don't see it
uncomfortable.
like before the year starts. You're looking at your team on sleeper, and you see, ooh, it's 30. Then it feels bad. But if it's 29, it's like it's okay.
I look at my rankings in Google Sheets a lot, and the way the formula works for like converting the birthday to age, sometimes it's like a little bit ahead because of the leap years, or I don't know how exactly it's a little bit ahead, but so sometimes a guy might say they're 25 when they're really like 24.8 because of the extra, I think, the extra days. So I think Adams is going to be 30 before he's 30 in my sheet.
Yeah. If you're pre-aging him.
But is that a, like, on a win now team, is that a move you'd be willing to do, like 102 for Adams, or would you hold out for some value in the rookie draft?
So I feel like that question gets a little bit into our draft we've got going on right now. So 101 in that draft, or the first rookie taken, was Brees Hall, and then immediately after was Kenneth Walker. So like, is Walker 102? Because I think I'm definitely on the Adams side for a win now team if Walker's 102. But if we think
Yeah,
it's
I
going to be
mean,
some QB that pops up, like Malik Willis goes 101 and it's in a good spot, like somebody trades up. I don't know who that person is, but who that team is.
I think with Walker, as much as this goes against my kind of rules, I would say, for lack of a better word off the top of my head, it's gonna be landing spot dependent. It really is. Um, I know people are, like, way higher on him than Zamir White, who I actually just drafted in this startup draft, but, like, I don't know. I like Zamir White a lot, and if he goes to a landing spot I like more than Kenny Walker's, like, I'm not saying I would take Zamir White at 102, but I might at that point like Zamir White more than Kenny Walker.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's tough.
Yeah. It is pretty funny how quickly the landscape has changed because everybody hated this 2022 draft, and now everybody is really excited. I think all the athletes came out at the combine, and everybody's now like thinking, "Oh, I kind of want picks right now. I kind of want these rookies." Kind of excited.
I didn't mind the Brees Hall pick, but I thought the Kenny Walker was a reach for sure without knowing more about his situation. Over over Hawkinson, AJ Brown, Jalen Waddle, like I don't know, I can do that.
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna go back to the next big thing that everyone already knows about, but we're getting to it now. Russell Wilson got traded to the Denver Broncos, which made me jump for joy because I do have a couple Russell Wilson shares, and I have a lot of Jerry Judy shares. For me personally, I don't. Oh, I do have my rankings. This QB move vaulted Jerry Judy up into like the AJ Brown, uh, Jalen Waddle, Debo Samuel, DJ Moore
Wow.
territory
Yeah.
for me in my dynasty rankings. So like up there, like a top 10 dynasty wide receiver because I do believe in the talent, and now he's got a QB. Um, I think Jerry Judy's the type of receiver that has good release moves, good separation, and when Russell gets outside of the pocket, he's going to find him quite often.
Yeah, I think the Judy to Tyler Lockett and DK Metcalf to Cortland Sutton, like they're, especially Metcalf to Sutton's not as comparable, but the Judy to Lockett, both kind of smaller receivers, a little shiftier. Um, I think that idea is good, and I'm more of a Sutton guy, but I've been a Sutton guy for several years now, so I'm it's kind of still a believer. I think that Judy's probably a little overrated with the trade, and then I think that Sutton's a little underrated right now, but both of them should have moved up substantially. I just think they should be closer together.
That makes sense, and Sutton's right up your alley because he's the cheaper side of it, like how you're talking about with Ayuk and Debo Samuel. Like you, and
Yeah,
Sutton's not a bad wide receiver. I just worry about the bigger guys down the stretch of their career once they hit that 26, 27. I mean, look what happened to Des Bryant. Like he was a
yeah,
top 12 dynasty pick and then dust like
yeah,
very quickly. And
and
that's
Sutton's
not
already
every
had
single
some
guy I know, but sorry, go ahead.
some injury issues already for Sutton, so
Yeah, yeah, that's the other worry for me, but Judy's had him too. I mean, I don't think Judy had an ACL, but he had the high ankle sprain, and I forgot what else he missed some time for in a previous year. But I just think that that offense. I know they let Fant go to Seattle, but those two wide receivers, Tim Patrick's a very nice complimentary wide receiver, and then to have like a young stud running back now with adding the QB to the situation, I just think they're gonna be, a top 5 offense.
yeah. Like KJ Hamler, even as like a wide receiver 4 or 5, like it's so much better than the Seattle situation where was pretty much just two wide receivers. Yeah, I think that division now is so interesting. I feel like I like Derek Carr a little more because like you got to keep up with all these three high-powered offenses in the Chiefs and the Chargers and now the Broncos.
You got to think that the Raiders are going to go classic Raiders and draft a wide receiver in the first round now.
Yeah.
But they just have Hunter Renfrow pretty much, and everyone else is kind of whatever.
Well, you know who the fastest wide receiver at the combine, well, like the most athletic wide receiver at the combine was, right? You know now. You must
Well,
remember his name.
I'm lost. Oh, yeah. Christian
Christian
Watson,
Watson, who you didn't even know
who
3 or 4 weeks ago.
who you just drafted over Mike Evans
Yeah,
and Amari Cooper
feels good.
and John Mechie. That's disrespectful, man.
So
But
I was thinking I probably didn't need to do that because all these people in this draft are Devy folks, and so they didn't like Christian Watson. They don't know Christian Watson. But I'm more of like a NFL rookie guy. So like I look at the end of the season or the end of the career, and so that's where Christian Watson starts to pop lot more. Kind of telling on myself a little bit, but I don't watch a lot of college football. So
well, you watched enough to pick Bryce Young in the 5th round.
I did. You watch one playoff game, maybe the SEC championship, and you're like, okay, that'll do.
Speaking of Seattle, though, that we mentioned in these talks, with obviously that's where Russell Wilson came from. There seems to be a lot of smoke coming out of that camp that they're pushing for Deshaun Watson now. So that's interesting.
I just got some breaking news on the Watson front too.
Oh, right now?
This says the Saints and the Panthers are making offers, and they're
Interesting.
going to meet the quarterback soon,
I need a sound drop
according
for
to
that.
Tom Pelissero. Apparently, just reported that, which of course means that also Ian Rappaport because he steals everybody else's takes.
Yeah, for sure. So where do you think Watson's going to end up?
I don't know. Like, if the Texans are going to charge what I think they should charge, like, I don't think he gets traded. Like, I don't know why. Is someone really going to pay 3 firsts for Watson?
But I mean, now it's a little bit more clear what happened in 2021, that he literally just sat out. Like, that wasn't a suspension. That wasn't them not wanting him to play, I think. I'm pretty sure it was just him saying, "I'm not
Yeah.
playing for this franchise anymore."
Yeah. So if the relationship's that fractured, like it's the Texans have to get something because they're going to get nothing. Like he's definitely not going to play for the Texans, which has not been my assumption the whole time. I actually dropped Davis Mills in a league last year. Oops. Shouldn't have done
He's
that.
not gonna play. He's not gonna be the quarterback, though. I mean, he
So
could be, but I
I
don't
think
know.
it's probably the Saints or the Panthers. Those are probably the top two. I can't imagine Seattle like trading Wilson to get like first round picks and then trading again to get Watson. It's
Yeah,
like,
I mean,
what are you doing?
I get that, but also Watson's future wasn't cleared up yet when they made the deal to send Russell, and Russell was wanting to leave anyway. But yeah, you're right. Because in theory, Watson should go for more than Russell Wilson because he's only 26 and probably better than Russell Wilson, honestly. So I
Yeah,
would say, definitely more than Stafford and Russell Wilson. I don't know. I just heard a yell from downstairs. Probably just a cat doing something.
just gonna let it go.
Yeah. Hopefully, there's no murderers in my house right now. I'll find out in a few if there is.
Yeah, and I guess I'll just watch on stream. Like what?
Yeah.
That'll be rough.
Well, it's pre-recorded, so it would never get out. You would just
Oh,
witness it, and then it would be just recording until it
oh
ran out.
God.
Anyway,
Oh.
um,
On
let's
that
talk
note, so
about.
where does Watson rank as far as dynasty quarterbacks now? That was a good
I still
discussion in the chat in our Devy draft.
Yeah, he went in the 3rd round. I was contemplating taking him in the 2nd round because if he is truly cleared, I still have a little taint on him from all this, um, stuff that went on with him. Oh, it's funny. I actually put his team as Tampa Bay in my rankings. That's what I was hoping for. Uh, I put him at 5 behind Mahomes, Allen, Herbert, Burrow. I'd
So
rather
ahead
take
of
the guys
Murray.
with the clean criminal bill. Even though Watson technically didn't get charged with anything, it's like it's still kind of sketchy from here on out with him.
I guess, like, to me, was Watson as good as the other guys?
Before his stuff happened and before Josh Allen had this last season, I actually had Watson at 2 behind Mahomes.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like I'm definitely taking Kyler Murray, Lamar Jackson, and then I think that was the line for some people, but I'd also take Dak Prescott. And then I think I'm still thinking heavily about the three rookies from last year. I think he has to go over Wilson. So at least a round move up for Watson, which you were already thinking about doing that. So
That is spicy. I think
I,
that as long as
there's
he
still
gets
a lot
fully
of Watson
cleared.
risk to me. Like, I don't know. It's been a while since he played.
Yeah, so that's why I think it's, like, not fresh in your mind how freaking good he is, man, like, top 5 QB season after season, running quarterback, 26 years old, I don't know, for me, it's easy, like, if he was not, like, in his situation, he would be in the same tier as Mahomes, Allen, and Herbert for me.
Mm, yeah.
But just
No,
based on
no
talent,
thanks.
though, but I get the risk side of it.
Yeah, I think I need to sell my one Deshaun Watson share. See if I can get Kyler Murray for him.
Oh,
Actually, maybe is Lamar Jackson a little safer than Kyler Murray?
I think from a diva perspective, yes. I don't know about, he definitely runs head first more than Kyler Murray. Like so, injury wise, I would say he's more of a risk. Um, Looks like he's going to be the franchise guy though. So, I think when you weigh both sides, I'd probably prefer Lamar Jackson from a safety perspective. For
Yeah.
safety, have you ever seen that?
No.
It's a two bears, one cave. Burt Kreischer and Tom Segura video. They're like, uh, quickly, Tom tells a fake story about meeting Jennifer Aniston, and then Bert's like, "Oh, you suck!" Like he's like, "I was so into that story," and then they're like, "We should meet Jennifer Aniston." And Bert goes, "Should we bring our wives?" And Tom's like, "No." And then Bert goes, "Should she bring a dude?" And Tom goes, yeah, for safety." And then Bert's like all hammered, so he just starts like laughing uncontrollably for like the next 8 minutes straight. It's actually really funny. It's called "For Jennifer Aniston's Safety." It's a 15-minute clip on YouTube.
Uh, you shouldn't have done that to me. Now I'm gonna be stuck laughing. The hands over the head here. Hold on for a second. Okay, I'm good. I'm good.
All right. So yeah, I'm a little bit higher on Watson than you, as stated just now. But let's talk about a less interesting, kind of boring trade. Carson Wentz to the Commanders. It's probably good for McLaurin and Logan Thomas, and it's probably good for all the weapons because I do think Wentz probably has it more together than Heineke. Like I don't know. I guess you're. I knew that
Yeah.
was going to be your reaction. Is I don't know, but you were
Yeah.
like Wentz, buying Wentz all over the place, and now you're
It
like
was. I
pushing
was,
him
but
off to
now
the
I'm.
wayside when he's got a fresh start.
Yeah. Well, one fresh start. I'm in. Two fresh starts. I'm out. I'm out. And especially a year later, I feel like there's some like leadership things, which is weird, uh, because like he talks about being like a good Christian. He did like things with like I think he had like some like feed the homeless type thing that he was doing. So it feels like he's like a part of the community and stuff. And sometimes it feels like those guys are going to be better teammates. But Apparently, he's not a great teammate. There's all those rumors about him like not talking to people for like multiple weeks on end, which is just strange to me. I just don't know how you could, be a leader of men and not talk to any of them. So Wentz makes me real nervous now. He's still young. At one point, he was a top 2 round startup pick. I feel like he's a great sell on the Commander news, which I
Yeah,
shouldn't say on a podcast because now
I'll hold
I've
off.
decreased my value.
I'll hold off on putting it out if you want, buddy. Um, Speaking of that, TJ was trying to offer me Carson Wentz in Heroes and Villains this morning. He sent me Carson Wentz 107 and 112 for 102 and the Caden's Kings 23 first.
No.
Yeah, I know. I added DJ Moore to it and sent it back, and he quickly declined it.
There we go.
But yeah, I like I said when I opened this topic up, I do believe that Wentz is an upgrade there, but I'm not super excited about it. So,
Yeah,
um,
I think I like Heineke and Fitzpatrick from like a risk standpoint. I feel like they were willing to throw it up to McLaurin. Now Heineke couldn't connect that often, but I think that a riskier quarterback's better for someone like McLaurin who could get downfield a little bit more. Might be good for Logan Thomas. I could see that, but Logan Thomas is also pretty old now. I don't know. I don't know how much value he retains over the next 2 to 3 years.
I forgot what his most recent injury was though, but he's coming off injury, right? I think he missed like a big chunk of the season, came back and got injured again,
Yeah, I think
something like that.
that's
But
pretty much right.
I actually think that Logan Thomas is a good value. Speaking of him, he's still on the board in this draft and
We just got picked.
tight end. No, I think that was a Devy wide receiver that just got picked.
All right. Yeah.
'Cause
So Logan
oh,
Thomas is coming off a torn ACL. He's 30 years old.
Jordan Addison just went. I gotta update that Devy board. So let's quickly talk about the last two trades here before we just kind of like go through that startup a little bit and the trades. Mari
Which we're
Cooper
itching
got
to do,
traded.
obviously. We've
What?
both mentioned the startup several times now. We're just itching to get at it.
Yeah, yeah. Amari Cooper traded to the Browns. I'm not really a Baker Mayfield guy, so I was kind of like, but he's probably gonna get targets. Oh yeah, you like Baker, right?
And I like Cooper, and I just got them both. Let's go.
Oh yeah, in the draft for sure.
So
At first,
I,
it kind
I've
of like at first
I've
kind of
always
like
been a
turned me
Cooper guy.
off the move to the Browns, but like you can't argue that he's gonna get targets, especially with them giving Jarvis Landry permission to seek a trade. He's probably gone.
Yeah, I think Landry's definitely gone. And then you kind of say like, where did targets go? And if fingers crossed this is true, so Baker Mayfield hurt his shoulder last year, non-throwing shoulder, but he was injured the whole season, had to have surgery. Is that part of why he struggled last year? And suddenly Baker looks a lot better in 2022. I don't think Baker's going to be a top 12 quarterback. I think that's out, but like a Derek Carr level quarterback, I think Baker's headed in that direction, and that's valuable. Like, I think there's a solid 6 years where that still gets play in the NFL as a starter.
Yeah, his journey's been pretty interesting from the stellar rookie year where he put up like what record numbers
Yeah, with
and
the that coach,
but they
there
didn't
was
even
some
have Beckham yet at that point.
they
It
didn't
was
have
just
Beckham. It was
Landry.
like some idiot coach that then Freddie Kitchens. Freddie Kitchens, and everybody thought that Freddie Kitchens was amazing then, and then he was the head coach next year, and they're like, oh no, no more Freddie Kitchens, no more Freddie Kitchens.
Yeah, I remember now Freddie Kitchens cooking it up for the Browns. Um, Bad joke. I
That's a good
I
joke.
think that Cooper has a better chance to produce on the Browns than the Cowboys, even though the Cowboys have a better quarterback, in my opinion. There's just, the argument of a lot of mouths to feed in Dallas with two pretty good running backs, a young CeeDee Lamb coming up, Gallup coming back from injury,
An
Cedric
elite tight
Wilson, like,
end in
emerging a little bit.
Dalton
Yeah,
Schultz.
Dalton Schultz emerging.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think
That's
the other part is like Dak doesn't funnel targets. He likes to like see people be open and then throw them the ball. Like he's not just going to force it to somebody, which is like one of the things about Diggs in 2021. Like Josh Allen just fed Diggs the ball all the time. Like no matter what, he was just like, I think you're going to be open, throwing it to Diggs, and then Diggs was coming down with it. So I think that's a big target game to me. Like Cooper's targets go up with the Browns.
Yeah, I think Baker's that type of quarterback too, to just, like,
Yeah.
force it into somebody, which sometimes is good, sometimes it's bad. It depends on, how good you are. Yeah, yeah, cross your fingers, folks.
Fingers crossed.
You're watching on the YouTube, you saw that. Um, so then I don't have a, banner for it, but I just wanted to quick talk about Khalil Mack getting traded to the Chargers. That defensive line is gonna be insane now, so that's something to keep in mind for Russell and Patrick. Uh,
Yeah.
guys are probably gonna
It's
be on their backs a little bit more often this coming year.
probably on their backs because like the Broncos defense is pretty good, and now you like definitely know they're in. I don't know what they can do to improve, but they might sign some older vets, and uh, I think the Chargers, the Chiefs, and the Broncos. It's just going to be so tough now. I like don't know who's going to win. I feel I'm. Are the Chiefs a sell now? The Chiefs might have to be a sell because they're not going to be able to run over the rest of the division.
Depends on what they do in the draft. If they go
Yeah.
offense in the draft, I don't think their offensive line is that terrible as long as Mahomes just doesn't get too fancy with it. Sometimes he does.
Sometimes, a lot of the time.
I had something on. Oh yeah, with I was gonna say don't forget and don't disrespect Max Crosby in that Raiders defensive line's not like terrible either. So
Max Crosby, what was that contract? That was huge.
oh yeah, he
That just
just
happened.
re-signed, right? I was thinking
Yeah.
about trading for him in my IDP league.
I feel like Max Crosby is one of those guys that's good in IDP because the Raiders don't have a lot else, so it's easier for him to pick up stats.
Yeah, and he's not expensive. It's not a sexy name, really.
Yeah. So 98.98 million, 53 million guaranteed.
That's pretty good for what is he like 28 already?
Uh,
That'll probably be his last contract,
yeah, it's not
like
there.
last big contract.
Oh, he's 25, I think.
Oh, I'm way
Yeah,
off.
way off.
I should trade for him. All right, you want to talk about this startup?
Yeah, let's go. The moment people have been waiting for, at least the people in the startup.
So I named this kind of as a play on words for footballs, but you guys know the other um, one that I'm talking about when I say big balls. Devy startup is the name of this, and I named it that because we are drafting everything pre NFL draft, so including rookies and Devy picks all the way out to 2025 with a cap of 60 players on the Devy pool, just so we don't absolutely decimate the future draft picks because I had no cap at first, and then all of a sudden I was like envisioning round like 28 hitting and just everyone's like, I'm taking an incoming freshman running back, and like every single Devy goes off the board and we don't even have a draft next year. Um, or have to
That's
change the
definitely what
rules.
I would have done. So I don't know. I get you putting a little bit of a cap on it. And then I think the other part that's interesting. So the startup is before the draft, but every year the rookie and Devy draft will also be before the draft, right? Or is
Yeah,
that
but I'm
mid-after?
actually going to give uh so it's not like totally balls to the wall, but I'm gonna do have it be at the end of March, so it's after the combine. So you still get some
Okay.
combine
Yeah.
metrics, but yeah, the rest of the information is just all up in the air. And so it's basically whatever type of scouting you do, you're gonna have to rely on that. But real quick before we get too far ahead of ourselves, I just want to mention it's a 12-team super flex. I believe 12 starters. So there's two running backs, three wide receivers, start two tight end, three flex spots, and then like I mentioned, the super flex. And we also voted to make it a full point tight end premium. So the everyone else gets one PPR and tight ends get two PPR. And I also believe it's a 6-point passing touchdown. So that's just the scoring and starting lineup layout. And then it's a 36-man roster. I don't like doing taxi or IR. I think it gets too messy, like policing. When people have a bunch of leagues, they don't pay attention to that stuff, and then all of a sudden they've got guy that's not shouldn't be on IR sitting there, and the taxi squad's got like freaking Rodney Anderson on it when he's not even in the NFL anymore. I mean, whatever. I'm just coming up with stupid examples, but I prefer to just have whatever amount of spots you would want on the taxi squad. Just we'll just have it as the bench. Like, just what's the point in it? It doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah. An interesting sidebar on taxi squads. I think I'm trying to remember his name, but there was a guy for the Rams, and he actually was a running back. He died last year. Yeah, there he is. Otis Anderson. So rest in peace, Otis. But he died on my taxi squad. So that feels kind of awkward. And I still have to have him on my roster because he's locked into my taxi squad.
Oh, sorry. Oh, sorry. But it was the way you said that.
Yeah.
Because like people use that terminology in Dynasty all the time, like, but in a literal sense, yes, RIP. I apologize, Otis Anderson, for smirking
Yeah.
a bit there, but that's Payson's fault. I'm putting that on him.
Yeah. Hmm.
Anyway,
How do you
I should
segue
probably
from
edit that
that?
out.
How do you segue from that?
uh we talk about some big balls over here, drafting Jonathan Taylor at pick 2 over Patrick Mahomes. So let's jump into this startup draft. Josh Allen went at 1, rightfully so. Pretty much everyone's dynasty top player in Superflex right now. And then I don't know if SNW is, I don't want to say like less experienced, but I know Jonathan Taylor is like the top running back in Dynasty, but just to pass up on the next 3 quarterbacks for him, I don't know. I was hoping that one of these other guys, like Burnett, whoever that is, would
Yeah. Some
take
loser.
a running back also, so I would get one of these top QBs, but it didn't work out for me.
Yeah. I think I went over the Jonathan Taylor one. I didn't feel like that was that much of a reach. I think someone's gonna take him in the first 6 or so picks, and like the value is pretty equivalent there. It's kind of more of a philosophy. Like, do you want a QB? Do you want a running back? Do you want the running back? I think he's probably overrated, and I'd probably go QBs over him too.
Actually going to you think so? You're sorry, I was looking at the other screen. So you're saying
I
Taylor's
agree.
overrated?
Yeah, I'd do the QBs over him. So the first 4 QBs, and then I'm probably going Taylor.
There we go. Got this board up for you guys now on the video. If you guys are watching on YouTube, let me get this.
So then we
Uh,
get to our next reach. It is from our
uh,
podcast host. His name is Newts McBoots. At the 6 hole, he just goes straight for Kyle Pitts. What do you have to say for
yeah,
yourself?
I think that because it's a start 2 tight end, it kind of is up the alley of how you're saying like the value difference isn't really like that crazy. And we talked about him a little bit earlier, Kyler Murray and Lamar Jackson and Dak. I don't feel comfortable. I don't have any shares of those guys. Something up something I have to looking inward about and really ask myself, why am I not comfortable owning those players? I mean, I guess with Kyler Murray, it's the contract thing and him being a baby about it and him being a baby in that last playoff game. It just doesn't make me feel comfortable. Um, Lamar Jackson with the running with his head down and like getting injured last year, bad ankle injury, missing most of the season. And then Dak Prescott just like he's a good quarterback, but like is he just like a slightly better Kirk Cousins? You know, like I that has had weapons around him this whole time and a good running back his whole career. Like him and Zeke came in together. So like I don't know. I'm not super high on Dak. I still respect those guys as like talents, but if I owned them, I would pivot off them for a guy that I think has more upside and gain some extra picks or depth on top of it. So that was kind of my reasoning behind reaching on Pitts and you know, took him over Jamar Chase too, which in my rankings I probably have Jamar Chase over Pitts. But I was actually thinking about this and talking to myself at work again about this into my AirPods. Rankings we're supposed to like go straight off our rankings, in theory, but like in a startup, it's different because you're kind of playing a game of chicken with people. Like, oh, are you gonna go off the road first or am I? Like,
Yeah.
and I think rankings are more reserved for like post startup draft.
Yeah. I think you're probably right. And I think it definitely paid off for you from just a strategic perspective. Like rankings be damned, because this draft got crazy with tight ends. Round 7, we had 5 tight ends drafted, including Mike Gesicki, first of those at 6'3", 603. And
Yeah.
then you got Brock Bowers, so dipping into the Devy pool for Brock Bowers. And then Noah Fant, Fryer Muth, Dalton Schultz, and then you come around that turn again and you get your Michael Mayer, another Devy pick, and then you get Knox to me. So I feel like I didn't want to take Knox. My reach on Knox was so much worse than your reach on Kyle Pitts. But I did get a tight end, and I see some other teams that don't have a tight end yet, and I'm like, I'm glad I have a tight end.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's tough. I still don't have my second tight end because it's so ugly at this point. I just don't want to take anybody. I'm probably going to end up getting somebody in like the 13th, 14th that isn't going to do much for me this year. And I
Yeah,
kind
that's
of went a
probably
weird direction with my team where I like started super young and then I just saw the value of veteran running backs. So like you guys can see here where my mouse is in the 8th round, I got Chubb and Montgomery. After I got Barkley in the 7th, my boy Barkley.
yeah. I really thought about taking Barkley over Knox just so I could force you to trade me.
Actually, I traded Barkley away this morning in one.
Oh, he's bailing. He's giving up.
No,
Everybody, sound the
no,
alarm.
it's let's see here. It's the league where I traded away Patrick Mahomes. I did this deal, if you can see that.
Yeah, see it.
So bring up my team real quick. So I'll just voice it out real quick. I traded away Barkley, Mike Williams, and my 23 second for CD Lamb. And then my team is Mahomesless because I traded away Mahomes. I got your boy James Conner in my RB2 slot. I'll probably piece him out. But my tight ends are just garbage. I made it to the
Yeah,
championship game last year on the back of like Mahomes and forget who else that did really well for me, but um without getting too long winded, I traded for the 103 and 203 and an extra 23 first. So that was kind of why I'm piecing this team out a little bit. You know, I still believe in Barkley, but I'd much rather have CD Lamb.
yeah. I think I'd take the CD side there as well.
So yeah, a little surprise trade for you.
So my
Um,
other reaches, or going back around the turns, so starting at the beginning, or surprises, not reaches, surprises. So Justin Jefferson going after Jamar Chase and then lasting till 202. I thought that was pretty interesting.
yeah,
I don't
I have
really
those
have
guys
any
very much
issues.
neck and neck, same tier
Yeah,
pretty much.
I don't have any issues with like the order of guys, like Prescott, Lance, Lawrence, Fields, but it does still kind of feel like all 3 of those go a little earlier than they should. but then
Yeah,
it's super flex, and so you get some QB pressure.
the thing about those picks, those players, I should say, is, if something doesn't happen this year for those guys, they probably drop a whole round. They're probably in that 3-4 range, like Tua. And then speaking of
Yeah,
him, you might call that a reach of me taking Tua at 407, but I mean, there was, pretty much Mac Jones and the rookies left. And
and you're
the
not
fact
taking the
that,
rookies.
yeah, I know like the rookies might have more upside, like Malik Willis might have more upside than Tua, but I feel more comfortable with Tua with an offensive mind coming from the Shanahan tree with playing with Waddle, his, top wide receiver target in college. Um, I think they're going to get that running game figured out with McDaniel. So I don't know. It's just something about him feels more comfortable to me than somebody with an unknown situation, which was the whole point of this startup was, you know, how high are you going to take some of these guys without the full picture in place? I mean, look
And
at
the answer has been so far pretty high, pretty
yeah,
high.
yeah. I mean, look at Olave went before Stephon Diggs.
Yeah,
Pretty crazy.
and
So
Christian
yeah, who
Watson
knows?
before Keenan Allen, before Mike Evans. Oh yeah, it's good. You're welcome. Had to do at least one, right?
Yeah, who was the other one? Oh, yeah, Quinn Ewers before, all these guys right here in the 8th round. That Josh McCown right here that I'm hovering over is
Yeah.
Quinn Ewers, went before Mitchell. I mean, and Cole Kmet right there, total reach in my opinion. Sorry, heads
Well,
up.
Trey McBride even at the turn before that. Like
Yeah, yeah.
tight ends overall just moving up 10 rounds.
I mean, I
Albert O
understand.
in the 8th or ninth. Ninth.
I
Yeah.
I have switched my, tight end strategies over the years. Like when I first started playing Dynasty, I was like how I was with redraft. Like I'm not even gonna worry about tight end right now. Like I'll just figure it out later. And I've switched that to now I'm like I'm just gonna pay up for a tight end that I know is good because I'm not very good at finding them coming out of college, coming out of high school, whatever it may be. It's just really hard to tell, and I feel like that position even more so than quarterback, like, they gotta get the opportunity.
Yeah. I think that speaks to even some of the popular Devy tight ends over even the last year. Like Weidermeyer was the number one Devy tight end for a couple years. I don't even remember the guy that was supposed to play for the Crimson Tide, Alabama tight end, really athletic, or was it LSU?
OJ
It might have been
Howard?
LSU. No,
Oh, are you talking
guy
Devy?
that's
Eric
still.
Gilbert?
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, was it LSU or was it Alabama? I don't even know, but he was the number one tight end and flamed out. Who knows what'll happen?
He's, was LSU, transferred to Georgia,
No,
and
that's
it's
what it
kind
was.
of a mystery, um, like, personal issues or whatever it may be with him, but he's definitely really good. It's just a matter of, is he gonna play?
Yeah. So I think it's really interesting to see how high people are willing to take Devy assets. Feels like everybody's taking on a lot of risk there, but excited as someone who is probably leaning more towards young vets.
Oh, shoot, you see my cue now.
Haha. Quick removes. But I saw who was number one. That's what matters.
But because I feel like at a certain point in a super flex, like, that's the only QB left,
No, the
really.
only QB left was Baker Mayfield, and I took him. I
Oh,
took him.
good job. So this is my team. You guys can see that. Kind of reached a little bit on Zamir White, but I really believe in his talent. Put down the 4.4 speed at the combine. He's just that type of runner that just gets upfield. Like to talk about another guy on my team and another guy that went to Georgia, not as fast as Zamir White, much more talented runner, obviously. But Nick
Yeah,
Chubb, Zamir White gets upfield kind of efficiently, just like Nick Chubb does, in my
yeah.
opinion.
I feel like from which teams look good, all the teams that haven't taken Devy picks so far, all those teams look good. I feel like there's the
Yeah,
teams that
yeah.
took Devy picks, maybe they'll look good at some point, but right now it's hard to look at those guys and feel like, oh yeah, that's a good team.
It's even harder because they're not able to nickname the scrub players that they drafted, which, you know, Travis Fulgham, he might make a comeback. This guy might have doubled up on a pick here. Might have to have a rule
Is he
about
starting
that.
Travis Fulgham,
Yeah,
pretending
yeah,
he's
he's, like,
Jordan
getting
Addison?
production out of him because Russell Wilson's there now. He's gonna unlock Travis Fulgham, and then he's also a Devy player at the same time.
Yeah. So
So
that's
this is
why I
your
chose
team.
fun names like I got Cookus. I don't know who Cookus is, but I know
Yeah,
that that's
I've
Bryce
never heard
Young
of
on
him.
my team because he's got a cool name like Cookus.
Yep. That was my you wanna hear my corny new, Russell Wilson joke? Let instead
Let's
of let
go.
Russ cook, let Russ bake since he's in Denver now. I actually made that my team name for, one of my leagues that I have Russell Wilson, and I put the little puff of, smoke after it, the
That's good.
emoji.
Yeah.
So this
Yeah.
is your team. Got, got lucky with, Herbert there at pick 4 with, SNW taking Jonathan Taylor at 2, so that's a nice cornerstone for your team. Then you went after those running backs that you love, DeAndre Swift and J.K. Dobbins. I love your, first 2 wide receivers, and hopefully this Watson guy works out for you.
You're like, I don't really know this third guy. Still don't really know this third guy. Yeah, I'm a little upset that I had to take Amari Cooper. Like, it's fine, but I really wanted to get Keenan Allen because I could have had the stack with Herbert as well.
Oh,
And
yeah.
just 2 picks before me, Keenan Allen went. Sad
Well, you
day.
still got a chance at a stack there.
Well, yeah, I got the Mayfield Cooper stack. I got
Oh,
that one
but you
already.
can scoop
No,
up
we don't
Mike
talk about that.
Williams.
We don't talk about that.
Oh, okay.
Shh.
Not live.
Shh. But you're gonna pick in front of me.
I think, I don't know. I think the interesting, value of your team is that you have Bryce Young, and, like, if Sam Howell hits, you're, like, cornering a pretty good chunk of the QB market here.
Yeah, I probably don't keep those QBs if they hit. Like if Baker Mayfield improves in 22, like I think he should, I'm probably trading him. If he doesn't improve enough, then I guess I might be just starting him. But hopefully Sam Howell and Bryce Young become my future starters. And if Howell doesn't work out, doesn't really matter because I've got Bryce Young, fingers crossed, coming next year.
Yeah, and I actually was gonna mention that I think Bryce Young probably goes up in value with those weapons in Alabama. Every year they just have weapons, even though they're losing Mechie and Williams this year to the NFL draft. Like, that what's his name? Hall? I forgot how you pronounce his first name.
Ajay Hall.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
then they're getting Burton from Georgia, Jermaine Burton, and they're getting Jameer Gibbs. So it's like they're just, you know, the way college is now, like people go play somewhere for a couple of years and shine, and then they transfer to the big school or get the SEC under their name, and then all of a sudden they're a high NFL draft pick. I feel like
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
kind of how it's going these days.
If you go to Alabama or Georgia, you're locked into the first 2 rounds.
Yeah, yeah. If you produce there, at least.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, forgot what else I was going to say. But yeah, I like your team. Like you said, kind of the people that let's look at a team that really went hard on Devy. B. Hewitt went hard on
Hewitt.
wide receiver and Devy.
Yeah.
So he's got Cousins at QB. He picked Quinn Ewers, and then Ryan Griffin is I forget who.
Is it Caleb Williams?
Yeah, Caleb Williams. So 2025 prospect, right? Or no, those are both 2024 prospects. And then he has Jackson Smith and Jigba, and I forgot who Curse was. Butte. I think Curse is Butte.
Yeah. So he's
So
got
he
the
is
dream wide receiver core.
loaded.
I
And
feel
I
like
think he
that
has
team, I actually don't like T. Higgins on because, like, in justifying that Jamar Chase is the first wide receiver overall, you kind of need him to outproduce Higgins. So I don't like the idea of I want both of them.
yeah, yeah. But I mean it could I mean in the right situation, it could work out and, you're kind of a hypocrite since you drafted him on the same team.
Yeah, auto drafted them last week.
Oh yeah, auto draft. I'm just giving you a little crap.
Yeah,
Uh, but yeah, I believe that's Jahmyr Gibbs and Travion Henderson for his running back. So I mean, he's going to be waiting a little while, but I could see it working out for him.
yeah. I think that the big thing to me there is also no tight ends. I think Evans R also has no tight ends right now,
Let me
so
see.
it's rough for those teams.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, that's how what's his name? Sorry, Flash Lightning is in Newts McBoots League. Like he's got an all right team, but his best tight end is like the Bates guy for Washington. Like he has no
Oh, John
he has
Bates.
nothing in a start 2 tight end league. He has like 3 third string tight ends on his roster. Jurga's got an interesting team, he was trading back a bunch, getting good value. I don't necessarily like the Pittman pick because I don't know what's gonna happen with the QB there in Indy, but um
So
yeah,
shout
I
out
was
to
actually
Ye
shocked that David Bell went over John Mechie too.
yeah, especially after the combine. Shout out to Yield Fates in some of our other leagues, but he like has leaned in whenever he goes win now. Like it's a very obvious win now. He's going like 27, 28, 29 year olds, like heavy on production, but like they drop because everybody wants younger folks. So Yurga here did two or three wide receivers in a row, all 24. I think, well, 24 or younger. So Pittman, Mooney, and David Bell. And so I feel like with that team, with that start, with Cooper Cup, the older quarterbacks, I think he could have just leaned into the win now and just drafted a bunch of older wide receivers, which there are several that cannot be named that are on the board right now.
Yeah, I agree with that. Um, uh, it's just so many different strategies for this format. Like, yeah, like you said, he could have leaned in more to the win now, and then in these later rounds, just get a bunch of like 23, 24 Devies. It's going to be interesting to see how quickly we get. I got to update the sheet. I think we're around like 15. It's going to be interesting with these middle rounds how quickly we're going to get to that 60 cap.
And it's 60 separate from 60 Devy, 60 rookies, right?
There's no cap on rookies. You
Okay.
can draft as many rookies because there's probably only about 60, 70 names that anyone even really knows or cares about.
Oh, yeah, I can go deep on rookies. We're okay.
But obviously, like a lot of them aren't going to work out.
Yeah.
But I just want to give a shout out to Sumdum. I used to work with him at Target Distribution Center, and this is his team. He went with Dak in the first round, and he picked Burks in the third round, which I thought was interesting. That was over. Let me see, where is it here? Sumdum. Burks right before T. Higgins. So over Debo, over Tyreek Hill, over Jackson Smith and Jigba, Devontae Adams, Jerry Judy, DK Metcalf.
Yeah, I feel like so he made two big bets. There's the Burks bet and then the Mike Gesicki bet. Where does Mike Gesicki have to sign in order to make that pick a good value?
Um, I think I don't know off the top of my head. Really,
Yeah.
I know he's like an athletic freak, but I've never been like really on him that much as far as like a tight end, an emerging tight end that I don't know. I think he just wins with size a lot. It's kind of how I feel about Drake London too.
Mm.
Thought that was I forgot who took him, but I think it's Cody Roth, CD Roth. Yeah, CDY. I don't know if that stands for Cody or whatnot, but Yeah, I thought that was a huge reach taking Drake London there. I don't know. I was talking to Darren about it on the phone, and he was like basically saying he thinks he's Mike Evans 2.0, which very well could be, but I don't know. It just seems really sloppy with the ball in his hands, in my opinion. I forget who Jay
Yeah,
Ajayi
I
is.
think Mike Evans is a much better athlete, I think, than Drake London is.
Yeah, I would agree. He didn't run or anything at the combine. Um, I like that. Well, I didn't like it because I kind of wanted Trevor Lawrence, but he took Trevor Lawrence in the second round. So I think he's got a good foundation. This is his first Devy league, but he is a smart dynasty owner, in my opinion, and I respect his opinions greatly. So maybe we shouldn't be questioning the Gasecki pick so much.
Well,
Cowboys and
yeah, I'm
Utes
thinking, do
kind
I
of
need to start
interesting
picking
as
up
well.
Gasecki somewhere else?
Oh, did you just ask me if I'm going to try to pick up Gasecki anywhere?
No, I'm thinking I need to.
Oh, I am not sure on that one. I tend to disagree with, um, at this point, I guess I was just kind of saying like maybe I should go back and like reflect a little bit on him and see if I missed something that I actually like because like I said, I do respect Brian's opinion. But
I
yeah, I
feel
brought
like
up
there are
go
3 or
ahead.
4 teams right now competing for a title in 22. Maybe you could stretch to 5 or 6, but I think a lot of the title's still undecided because there are so many vets left that could like switch a team. Like if you're a younger team, but then you draft Hopkins, Mike Williams, Leonard Fournette, or James Conner, and then it's like, oh, suddenly you're like ready to play in 22, and all those people are still available right now. So I kind of want to trade up, get like 10 of these next 10 picks.
Good luck with that. So I got Murdog's team pulled up here. That was really funny last night when he was like debating two guys, I guess, and I was like bugging him to pick, and um, then he picked someone that I actually had not heard of. So that was pretty comical to me. I was like, I'll tell you who I'm picking, and I told him, and he's like, oh, I'm not thinking about any of those guys. I basically said Zamir White and John Mechie. And
Yeah.
then, I forgot who his pick even was, but it was a Devy wide receiver that I was like, "Oh, I've actually not even watched that guy yet," so that was pretty funny. Who are your, 4 contenders?
So I think there's Newts McBoots, Jurga,
Nice.
uh, P. Burnett, and then Slamkowski. I think Slamkowski's kind of my favorite right now.
Let me get over to that. Oh, yeah, I remember, it kinda hinges on what happens with Alvin Kamara,
Yeah.
but who is Jeremy Sprinkle again? Is that
Uh, that's Brock Bowers, I think. Yeah, Brock Bowers.
interesting? Alright. Oh, and he has
Which
Watson.
I think if I'm him, I do like that team a lot better if I don't go Devy tight end and just go with one of the ones in the NFL already, because I think you kind of need production with that team, but
Yeah.
you could
I mean,
still
he
work
he
out.
coulda had Fant, Freiermuth, Schultz.
Knox.
Trey McBride.
And then it's over.
All right. So yeah, I think that pretty much covers it for the startup. Unless you got anything else you wanted to say about that.
No, I think we covered most of it. I guess the Hall Walker Spiller Evans going with the rookie RBs. I think that's pretty interesting to me. I guess if rookie RBs hit from the 22 class, he has them. So, well, except for if it's Samir White, then he doesn't have them.
Yeah, I think Brees Hall's almost locked in hit unless he goes to. I mean, that would be such a huge bust if he did not make it in the NFL. I mean, just everything screams, that he's gonna do well. Play on the field, workout metrics, projected draft capital.
Yeah, I think
Um,
Spiller was the tough one at 412. So ahead of Willis, ahead of Corral, and then ahead of a ton of people already in the NFL, and ahead of pretty much every RB. That was like what RB like 10 or so, something like that.
yeah, was definitely a reach in my opinion. Also, um, the strategies in this are just so interesting. Like I came in like thinking, okay, like I picked Justin Fields first, and then I went CD Lamb and or I picked Kyle Pitts first rather, and then my first QB was Justin Fields. And I was thinking like, okay, I'm gonna be one of those teams that's just picking Devies left and right. But
Yeah,
I mean, there's just not a level of comfort that I have when I don't know the situation. Like I'm going to go based on my talent evaluation, but I'm also going to heavily, heavily weigh value on the players that have a situation in the NFL and are producing for me for the next 2 years.
yeah. So in our other draft that was also Devy, I thought that I would be a win now team, and then nobody took any Devy picks really. So I just started taking all the Devy picks. And now all of those picks, according to this draft, look like they should be like first or second rounders. And I took them in, the third, fourth, fifth, sixth, even. So
It's always different with every group of people too.
yeah.
Like this one, I felt like it was one of those leagues where everyone was trying to trade back.
Hmm.
And like no one could find a deal. Like everyone's like, I'll take your third, fourth, and future first for my first round pick. And everyone's like, that's what I'm trying to get.
So then they just started taking their guys, which I can respect that. When you call something big balls Devy, I think you've got to kind of put it all out there.
Oh yeah. So I think since we are just over an hour here, let's get into these trades that I had. My crazy trading frenzy. So to kick it off, I'm going to put a banner up here on the video of the format that this first trade went down. The format of what the league was for this first trade that went down, and it was between me and Payson and I guess I should say. Um, so I have a pretty good team in this league, and I had what I felt to be like a lot of excess of capital across my team. It's a start two running back team. It's a 14 team super flex tight end premium, but you have to start two running backs, and I had four pretty good running backs on my roster. So I have Barkley, Chubb, Swift, and Mitchell. So I was thinking, okay, I have some ancillary guys like Devin Singletary, Jarrett Patterson, that if worst comes to worst, those guys will fill in for me. Maybe Trey Sermon gets his act together and takes over if Mitchell gets hurt. So I have those type of guys at the end of my roster. So my QBs on this roster were Josh Allen and Trevor Lawrence. And based on all the podcasting and trade talks and drafting that I've been doing with Payson, I knew that he still likes the value of Trevor Lawrence and that he was pretty high on DeAndre Swift while also being a Lions fan. So I sent
Yeah.
Payson, Trevor Lawrence, and DeAndre Swift for Patrick Mahomes. And then I posted in the group chat, I said, this is an overpay. He will take this. I think that's what I said.
And
and
then seconds later, he took it.
yeah, and said that was correct. I do think that it's pretty even uh, because of like the risk of Lawrence like not working out. But I mean, the upside of Lawrence working out puts it heavily in your favor for the
Yeah,
value.
I think to me, and looking back on it, like I think I should probably get a first round pick on top of this. Like it should have been like Swift, Lawrence in a first. Not that that's like fair market value, but looking back on it, I think the Mahomes side is actually probably better. I looked at it as like I'm getting two second round startup picks for one pick, and like you could never get that trade done in a startup, like partly because it's impossible because nobody has two second rounders, but still like very hard to accomplish that trade in a startup versus a league that already exists. I think that maybe the Swift Lawrence side's a little light, but oh well, I took it. Took the bait. I like my guys there. I also feel like I needed to get younger in that league, and so I think your team is the heavy favorite in 22 and probably 23 and probably 24 as well. But so at least the heavy favorite in 22, and so I kind of felt like I gotta shift out some youth so I'm like better in the future. Because if I go all out in 22 and then still lose, then my team's kind of shot in future years. I'm like heading towards rebuild, so better to start the rebuild a little early when I could still potentially compete.
Yeah, you actually nailed it with the 2 second round startup pick reference, because that's what I was thinking when I was sending it. I was like, "Okay, he views," because I think you had just drafted Swift
Hmm.
in that other league in the second round, and I was like, "Okay, he views both of these guys as second round startup picks." Like, there's no way that someone shouldn't take this trade if that's, like, the viewpoint that you're framing it with. So, and then I was just, like, obviously trying to get Josh Allen and Mahomes on the same squad for,
Yeah.
the next decade.
And the other part is you were so active that I couldn't remember which league was which league and which trade was happening because you traded away Mahomes in a different league.
We'll get to
It's
that, we'll get
just
to
like, yeah,
that. So, for real quick, in the same league, then I traded away I had Jamar Chase on that team, and I traded him for Terry McLaurin and a 23 first and a 24 first, which is probably a light on my side of sending away Chase, but I just like the spreading the first round picks out a little bit like that into the future, and I do think that McLaurin is going to produce for the next 2 years. Maybe not with Wentz both years, but I think, like I said earlier, I think Wentz is gonna be able to get him the ball better than Heineke and Fitzpatrick.
yeah. And so this was post Wentz trade, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So I think I'm on the pretty heavily on the Jamar Chase side of that. I think McLaurin is like just a guy kind of in that like well he's in wide receiver 10 to 24 range and he's near the top of that right now but easily could be near the bottom next year or even from a production standpoint. So I think I'm on the Jamar Chase side now. You could still you have a lot of outs because you have those first rounders and so you could potentially hit someone like Jamar Chase, but I think you're trying to hit Jamar Chase, you hit Jamar Chase and then you're just like keep trying again. So I think Chase side.
Yeah, I mean, from a value perspective, but I just believe in the talent of McLaurin, and I don't think there's gonna be a lot of competition for targets. I know I'm giving up, what, 5 years of production, and Chase locked into a really, really good quarterback that he played with in college. But, yeah, like you were saying, I'm kind of, like, getting that extra. I just wanted to, like, I've said in the past, when I get a guy that's in the first round of a startup, I wanna break him down into some depth and a shot at another player that can get into the first round, and, I don't know if you remember, but, like, Terry McLaurin ran a 4.35, and, he is a really good player in my opinion. It's just a matter of, is Wentz gonna be able to get him the ball? So I guess we'll find out. I just kinda wanted to, like, have my team be, like, win now plus, like, have, like, this weird mixture of future picks. So yeah.
Yeah, you leaned in so heavily to win now, and now you're kind of like, "Ah, I can back off a little bit. I don't need. I already got the team that's gonna easily crush the league. I can back off a little bit."
So then we already talked about this, Devontae Adams, Terry McLaurin, and, Mike Evans trades that didn't go through because I'm just not willing to give up 102 and a guy that I think would be maybe 3, 4, 5 points less average points per game than Devontae
Yeah,
Adams.
so breaking it apart, like 102 or Devontae Adams.
102, at least until the draft happens.
Yeah. So then McLaurin over 110. You're McLaurin over 110.
Um, I think that's pretty even because
Yeah.
there's a lot of potential for good value at 110 if people are liking other people than who I like.
Yeah. I think I probably like the Adams 110 side a little bit more than you, but I think you're probably still on 110, 102 McLaurin. Yeah.
I think it's fair, but I just think that the value of 102, like if one of these other running backs, like what if Kenny Walker goes to like the Falcons or something and they draft a wide receiver in the first round also, like get that offense back on track or just a good situation for a running back. I mean, that just resets my I'm back to 4 young, good I mean, Chubb and Barkley aren't young, but I'm back to 4
Mhm.
running backs for my team, and then I have 4 wide receivers, and, I don't know.
Yeah. I'd say your team also doesn't really need Adams. Like you can win without Adams.
Yeah.
So Adams is getting older. You might as well not take the risk.
Well, my original offer was 102 for Adams and 207, and he turned that down. So I was trying to just basically convert the 102 to Adams, but I think I'll be better off just making the pick, honestly.
Hmm.
So then I also went crazy in our other 14 team super flex league. And if you're watching on the video version of this podcast, this league has a little wrinkle in it. It's a start 4 wide receiver. And actually the tight end premium is a little bit heavier. It's full 2 points in this one. The other one I should have mentioned is only 1.5 total PPR for tight end. So I was like taking Mahomes, and he was like the square block, and there was a bunch of circular holes, and I was trying to jam it in there, uh, fit it in there like a little kid. So I sent this one to KR Ferguson, Mahomes for Hertz, Wilson, 23 first, 104, and 201. And he was like, yeah, no, not giving you all that stuff for Mahomes.
Yeah, it's one of those that if your team was like good enough to like withstand losing all that, then maybe you're thinking about it. But then at that same time, like you're kind of over the top from an asset perspective. So I think I agree there. It's probably too much. I think there is a lot of risk with Hurts and Wilson. So I think I'm like in a vacuum, I prefer the Mahomes side, but from a value standpoint, I think you're still on the Hurts side.
Yeah, and like my whole reasoning behind like why he would even be interested in the offer was because he would get to pair up Mahomes with Herbert in a 14 team super flex. And that was part of the reason why I was charging a little
So
extra there as
much.
well.
Yeah.
So then I was over here trying to send basically what the deal ended up being in the end was I was trying to send Mahomes and Knox for Fields and Pitts. We had some trade talks earlier about he wanted Dylan, and he offered me like Clyde Edwards-Helaire straight up, and I was just like, I think Dylan has more upside at this point if something happens to Jones or if they trade Jones, which I don't foresee them doing, but anything could happen. So that 23 first came off there in the last part of that deal, and yeah, in the end they were like, we just like having Pitts locked in, and we feel comfortable with they have Fields and Stafford at their quarterback position. So they were just like, yeah, I'm not gonna pay up for Mahomes.
Yeah. I think that also gets to like how hard it is generally to make a trade for Mahomes, like both for the trade for and trade away Mahomes. Like you have to have a pretty good team to be able to do that trade, which is kind of where we were able to do a trade in the other league.
It's kind of crazy to think about. I've moved Mahomes 3 times
Yeah.
now this off season, or actually,
Like,
I sent 2 Mahomes away and brought 1 in.
yeah, it's crazy.
So then last one that didn't get accepted was I was trying to send Mahomes and Knox for Trey Lance and Mark Andrews and a 23 first, which was probably way too much. But yeah, sorry, the real McSpanky. That was actually a disrespectful offer. Um,
Well, yeah, so the Knox versus the first part is the disrespect part. But if you said just Mahomes for Andrews and Lance, that's like a little better than the deal that you sent me.
Oh yeah, I forgot what I sent you.
The
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Swift,
No, the
Swift and
other one.
Lawrence. So like Swift and Lawrence versus Andrews and Lance. I think Andrews and Lance is a better value than Swift and Lawrence. Like I would trade Swift and Lawrence for Andrews and Lance, but
I'm on
I
the
think
other
that's
side of that, but it's not far off. Like I would prefer Swift over Andrews, I think.
wow.
After like not in a startup, but like
What tight end premium?
yeah, I don't know.
Eh, eh.
Probably not. You're probably right, but I would prefer Lawrence over Lance.
Yeah.
I just think he's gonna have a better percentage chance to succeed. I don't know. Just something about Lance, just the wobbly ball and running head first. I don't know.
You're all about these head first guys.
Um, I forgot. Anyway, so let's finally get to the deal that happened here. So we had a owner non-responsive, so replaced him, brought in. Quickly, off subject. I got to shout out Benny Raiders 10 for after I made that trade where I traded away Barkley and Mike Williams and the 23-second for CeeDee Lamb. He immediately jumped in the chat and said, "You traded away your boy Barkley. What are you doing?" So I had to give a shout out to Benny Raiders before I
Paying
forgot.
attention to the pod.
Yeah, number one fan basically.
Yeah, the fan.
Yeah, the fan. So the deal that I sent away Mahomes for and a pretty big package in this 14 team. And at this point of the night, I was pretty lit, I guess I should say. Like I was just having a good time uh, hammering out these trades. So I sent away Mahomes, David Montgomery, DeAndre Hopkins, Zach Ertz, and some later picks. The most meaningful one being my 2024 second for. So I in return for all that, I received Christian McCaffrey 102, 202, Loops 23 first, and his 24 first.
It's quite the deal. A lot of assets involved. I think that Hopkins and Ertz being a lot older, it's pretty much Mahomes and Montgomery for 102, which is kind of almost two firsts. So it's like four firsts in value, and then whatever you think McCaffrey is, like another two firsts. It's like six firsts of value exchanging hands.
Yeah. So when you put it in that perspective, I feel like I got a pretty good deal for Mahomes. I would frame it as Mahomes for McCaffrey 102.
And the two
So
firsts.
that's probably like around four firsts, like you said, and then the 23 first for Montgomery, and then the 24 first for Hopkins, and then the 202 for Ertz.
Yeah, I think yeah, I'm on the first side of that. I guess the other part is like Loops came into a pretty bad team, earned the 102, and so the idea of giving up future firsts on a team that right now was pretty bad is kind of tough to me. But he needed a lot of help, and so coming in with Hopkins, Mahomes, and Montgomery, it's a lot of help.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. I kind of targeted this deal because I'm kind of banking on his depth running dry and those picks moving up the board for me. And
Sorry, Loops.
I partly also targeted this trade because I knew that you liked Christian McCaffrey a lot. So I was like, I'm going to get Christian McCaffrey and then
And immediately
immediately
flipping.
take him over to Payson's inbox here. And I sent Payson Christian McCaffrey for 105 and 111. Oh, and don't forget the 401, the most
Yeah,
important
it's
part
a
of the
very
trade.
key pivotal pick right now. So I think those two first, 111 and 105, like I don't know, 3 weeks ago, like that would have been landslide McCaffrey versus those two picks. And so the fact that those are now even, I think everybody's kind of gotten a little too excited about the 22 class now. But I do kind of need a QB, so I'm a little nervous now that I don't have 105.
Yeah, because I need a QB now, and I have 101 and 102.
Yeah. You got Brees Hall, then you've got probably two QBs next. Maybe you sneak in Kenny Walker if he's crushing it. I don't know. We'll see.
The way I was viewing this McCaffrey trade was like I'm basically trading away McCaffrey for like I get to reach on one of my wide receivers at 105 or maybe a QB in a situation I like, and then 111 I can like reach on somebody like Samir White or another running back in a good situation or a wide receiver. So
Yeah.
I don't know. The way I
Yeah.
blew it up with the Mahomes trade, I was like, I just need to get McCaffrey out of here as soon as possible.
Yeah, he didn't really fit your team, so it's time to move on. Yeah. I have moved now in that league to kind of a win now team, and I'm not sure if I like it as much as the team with a ton of draft picks. I'm trying to pull it up right now.
Yeah, we basically switched roles in that league.
Yeah.
Like my team was like kind of looking all right, and then I made these insane trades, and now it's like all I have on my team is Tua and rookie picks.
Yeah.
What
So
about
now
JG?
I've got, guess we'll start at the top from a value perspective. Jamar Chase, then Christian McCaffrey, Antonio Gibson, J.K. Dobbins, and then like no QBs. I got Carson Wentz. So no QBs. And then 108, 109, 113, and then like the entire back half of the second round. So I got to hit on some rookie picks in order to be competitive. I probably went a little too hard. Probably shouldn't have done the McCaffrey trade because I already had, you know, three good running backs in my eyes. So going to four kind of probably went too far.
Yeah, but let me see. Let me just pull this up real quick. Yeah, but having four running backs on a let me pull your team up so I can just visualize it. Um, Peanut butter jelly time.
Which I guess a
Uh,
lot of people wouldn't consider Connor one of those four. So maybe it's three running backs and a half a running back out.
oh, so you still have 108, 109,
Yeah.
113.
I just now need some need a QB to make it that far, which I get a little nervous on. I think I probably just got to
Oh,
start watching Sam Howell tape to get myself excited about him.
I just realized that you have like 20 picks in this draft.
Yeah, I got to consolidate a little bit, and I don't think anybody wants to, so it's going to be
I might
weird.
be willing to closer to the draft trade back on some of my picks and scoop up some of these second, third round picks from you because my team has nobody on it anymore. That's why I made my team name trades are bad. Okay. So that is pretty much all I have. Oh, I have one last thing. So now Loops is trying to send me Godwin in the same trading camp league, 14 team, super flex, four wide receiver, tight end, premium. He is trying to trade me Chris Godwin, Josiah DeGuara, 20, 24, 24 second, 24 fourth, 22 third, and a 23 fourth. So like a bunch of third and fourths and a second in 2024 for Mike Evans, AJ Dillon, Jonnu Smith, and Devin Duvernay. And I'm
Oh,
just
I'm
kind of leaning like
I'm
I like
accepting
AJ
that
Dillon
trade.
more than that. Like I'm not I don't know
Huh?
if I'm willing to give up AJ Dillon to make up the difference between Mike Evans and Chris Godwin and just get a second round pick from 2 years from now in a
Yeah, I
14
guess
team.
I feel like Godwin's so much younger than Evans, but I guess he's probably not. It's probably like 2 years
26.
difference. Yeah. Okay, yeah, 2 years difference.
Here,
So,
there's the trade to visualize it.
yeah. So it's basically Evans and Dylan for Godwin and a bunch of future picks. But the
Yeah.
24 second is the best of those. And so like you're 3 years out from that.
Kind of like inclined to take the risk on of Mike Evans, going to be 29 in season this year, but I feel like the right person might be willing to send me a late 23 first closer to the season for Evans. Like if their team's looking really good, or maybe in season, I might be able to get a better future pick for Evans versus like. But it does appeal to me to buy Godwin, because he is only 26, and then that would Judy, Godwin, whoever else I get at receiver with some of these rookie picks.
You want like 3 seconds for Evans?
No, maybe I don't know.
Yeah, I
Maybe I
think you want like 3 seconds for Evans.
think I want yeah. Is 113 a second?
113 is not a second.
Like TJ's at it. He's trying to trade Devonta. He's at it again. He wanted to trade me Rodgers and Tua for Josh Allen. Straight up, I was like, no, thank you.
No. But again, from a startup pick perspective, like that might be close.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it would probably be 2 fourth-round picks for the
Yeah.
101. So probably you would need more than that.
You'd need like a first on top.
Yeah. All right, man. That's all I got for this week.
Alrighty. It's been
So
real. It's been fun.
say our goodbyes to the people, to the fan, Benny Raiders
To the
10.
fan, Benny
Thanks,
Raiders.
thanks for watching. Thanks
Nice
for
to see you.
listening. You want to tell people what your Twitter handle is?
Oh, I also don't tweet, but
Oh, okay.
my Twitter is my name, so it's at Payson_Burnett.
Yeah, I believe I just finally followed you back because I saw you like retweeted the podcast. I was like, oh, oops.
Yeah. Yeah. So thanks for that. It's really nice.
Yeah, I don't know.
Sometimes I'll
I
be
think
retweeting
people
like NFT
overtweet.
stuff. So I get a little
Yeah, I
ashamed.
have two. I have actually at Gem Drafter for my football stuff, and then I have at Newts McBoots that I kind of like follow a bunch of crypto, stock market stuff because that's like my other passion other than fantasy football. It's just all gambling for me, folks.
Yeah. No risk it, no biscuit.
You just gotta have everything within reason. All right, I am going to end transmission now. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. We will talk to you guys next week, or maybe I'll just be doing a solo dolo. We shall see.
Later.